Hey kids, this is Aaron from the podcast that wouldn't die, and Kevin and I use Zencastr. You think you're better than us, that you're using something else? You're wrong. Zencastr's the place to be. Who are you to deny it?
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code DIEHARD and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time for you to share your story.
Only a fool will give up a chance for a 30% discount.
About 3 days.
It has been 400 years since its last reincarnation.
Any pain?
It kind of moves sometimes.
The soul of black magic is waiting to be reborn.
What's your diagnosis?
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Hi, I'm just out of the shower. I didn't even care.
This week, we're discussing the horror classic, The Manitou, starring Tony Curtis, Burgess Meredith, and some other randos. Susan Strasberg.
Dude, take
Who
that
else?
question mark away. Clearly, this is a classic. I forgot how good this was.
This movie's
Oh,
bullshit.
Lord.
Each week on the podcast, we discuss
And
guilty
Stella Stevens and Ann
Stella
Southern.
Stevens. Yes, it's an all-star cast.
Andrew
Each week.
Stevens' mom.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Star of Night Eyes
Yeah.
2? Is that the one you're talking about? The Andrew
And
Stevens?
the bastard. He was during the bicentennial. He was in all those patriotic miniseries.
He was in The Fury, if I remember
Yep.
correctly. Anyway, each week, third time I'm doing this, each week on the podcast, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist. Aaron, what's up with you?
Oh my God. I'm trying to detox. I've just been eating like kombucha, Gatorade, whatever hippie gruel that I can get, immunity shots, because literally, well, I didn't really do anything at Christmas, the long New Year. There's a lot of drinking of the wine. So I've had 3 days. I don't go in for this sober January because honestly, and for the most part, I go out for drinks once or twice a month. So it's not like I'm concerned and I'm not sure if I can make it through January without a drink. But
you're always living your life, Aaron. You're always going to concerts and go ahead.
But I'm a wimp. When I go to concerts, I'm like, oh no, I don't drink till the sun goes down, and then I'll have 2 IPAs that are like $38 each, and I'll be hammered.
That'll be it. That'll be all she wrote.
I mean, in the end, being a lightweight, it saves you money. So I just need my urine to be more back into a human color.
That would be so. Let's drink more water, is what we're saying. Good Lord.
Water's so boring. And I live in Bakersfield. When I moved here, our father told me, whatever you do, don't drink the water. All of your mother's friends are dying of cancer.
Is that really what he told you when you moved to Bakersfield? Oh my God.
Yes.
What the?
Yeah.
What is happening? Anyway,
we're just
sweet
crossing our fingers and hoping the Brita does what it needs to do.
I don't think it filters out carcinogens, if I'm being honest. I didn't know Bakersfield was the Chernobyl of the West. So
Dude, we invented the Silkwood shower. Come on.
That's every shower in Bakersfield. God help us all. Pretty much. Sweet Jesus. Okay, Aaron, give us your 30-second synopsis of The Manitou.
It is TikTok pimple poppers on steroids. I'm just going to put that out there. Put that in your mind.
Okay.
Because basically, it's one of those tumors with the teeth and hair, except instead of having your doctor like scoop it out with a melon baller, it grows into a naked, small person, Indian medicine man. And there's no way, lady, you're coming back. They're like, oh, I think we could save her. I'm like, she's flayed like a trout. It was worse than, oh shit, what was the movie with Demi Moore?
The Substance?
It was worse. She's more flayed than the substance. So, yeah, battle. The Lebanese man who always plays an Indian is there kicking ass, taking name with old Tony C to save the day. It's good stuff, brother. And it's triptacular.
This movie's fucking ridiculous. Let me just say that.
I think it's a masterpiece. What the hell are you saying?
Do you remember the first time you saw it? Was it in the theater?
No way. How old do you freaking think I am? Oh no! This is for sure a blockbuster, or it's generic, hometown movie thing. I may have seen ads on TV for it, but who knows? 70s like horror movies were terrifying to me. Roaches,
Yeah.
frogs, acid
There was
rain.
no. First of all, there was never a movie called Roaches. Okay, let me stop you right there. That would be terrifying,
There was a movie that had a lot of bugs in it, and they would overwhelm you, and then they'd move on. You'd just be a skeleton.
Yes, there were
And
multiple
I would
movies
see
like
it
that.
right before Mom and Dad were going out to a cocktail party, and we were babysitterless. And I'd be like, don't go! And my mom would be kicking us loose because she'd been locked in the house all week. This was her one chance of freedom.
Creepshow had roaches in them in the most disgusting way possible.
But then I was mature and old, and it didn't bother me as much.
There was a movie, I think it was the 80s, called The Nest, which had giant killer cockroaches, if I'm remembering this correctly. But in the 70s, there was a movie called Damnation Alley, starring George Peppard and Jan Michael Vincent, where it's a post-apocalyptic world, and there are giant scorpions and like armor-plated, man-eating cockroaches. Like you'd step on them and it wouldn't kill them, and then they just crawl on you.
I've never heard of that in my life. I'm thinking
Damnation Alley. This movie's crazy. I had never even heard of the Manitou except in reference to if I had like a zit on my chin, then Aaron would say, hey, is that a Manitou growing out of your face? So I actually didn't even see this movie until about 10 years ago for the first time.
What? You just thought a Manitou was like a zit, like a poison? Our sisters also, there was the poison apple that was buried under your skin too.
Correct.
Poison apple, you got to dig out the apple, or a Manitou.
Or
a Manitou, I guess, is bigger than a poison apple.
This movie is freaking nuts. This is the good Tony Curtis, because Tony Curtis is one of those dudes. If you ever hear him interviewed, he's one of those guys who's like, I don't care that I'm 95 years old. My girlfriend's got to be 25. She's got to be. That's just how I like to have. And he literally says, I like to have a good-looking lady on my arm. It's kind of how it is. So he's been divorced 30 times.
Yeah, life imitates art. It needs to be realistic, and realistic to him is a 22-year-old bride.
100%. So this is late model Tony Curtis. This is
No
the Charlton Heston, right? Where he's just like, I will take any role you give me as long as my toupee is at least serviceable. I gotta have a serviceable toupee, number one, and I have to star opposite a woman who's at least 30 years younger than me. That's got to be the way.
I want him preferably younger than my own children. That's how we like it.
Correct. I want Jamie Lee to be pissed off when I bring her home. Is ideally what I'm working with. Sweet Jesus. But I mean, the whole so he's a tarot card reader and a psychic. Is that his character?
Yes, he wears a purple cape, and he's in this all takes place in San Francisco.
Yes, purple cape, and he has a fake mustache that he wears. Why does he have to wear a fake mustache? Unclear.
Because he's in disguise. It's all part of the persona.
Now, later in the movie, I'm just jumping right in with the highlights. When he meets Stella Stevens, is Stella Stevens supposed to be like a gypsy woman or something? Her skin looks like George Hamilton color. Like it seemed unnatural for her.
I don't even remember. It's been so long since we watched that. I forgot who she was in this movie.
Stella Stevens was the other psychic or medium or whatever she was. No, he goes to get her help because he's like, I'm just a fraud. So I need your help to do a seance.
But I know who all the good ones are. I'm a fraud, but I do in my directory, I do have a list of all the good psychics, the real psychics.
We got to just get right to this. So Tony Curtis's ex-girlfriend has a lump on the back of her neck. Not explained, like, did she walk across an ancient Indian burial ground? Nothing. There's no explanation. Just for some reason, she's got a lump on the back of her neck.
All right. The first thing I thought when I saw that was it reminded me of those cysts you get on your joints. And then our mother would get like a Bible or a heavy book and try to bang it. And all I thought was that, why doesn't somebody just get a big book and give that lump a whack? At first, I thought it was a dowager's hump, so I don't know if a whack works on that.
She was Straganota?
Straganota. I just feel like a good chiropractor get in there with their monkey tools and just give it a whack.
Well, because
that's the end of the story.
The movie starts with her meeting her doctor. And her doctor's like, I have no goddamn idea. I'm bringing in a special melanoma specialist to give your little humpback a little squeeze just to find out what the story is with that. And again, there's no explanation why she's been targeted. There's nothing. We're like,
I think it's like Rosemary's Baby. You know, she was available, so let's do it.
She was available, 100%. So, God damn it. So Tony Curtis is like, oh, I'm sure everything will be fine when they melon ball that thing off the back of your neck. God damn it. But there's some shit where it's like she's talking in her sleep and says some shit. What is she? Pana, witchy, something?
I think she said,
no. Okay, Aaron. Not appropriate. Not appropriate.
I was quoting I Love Lucy. That's not racist.
I beg to differ. But she says it's like Pana Witchy Roo or so, I don't remember what it was, but it was some kind of phrase that she keeps repeating. She's like saying in bed because, of course, the moment she sees Tony Curtis.
Oh, sure, but that's not racist. That crazy. It looked like the poem about Hiawatha.
It was.
She haggard old Nicoma. Again, quoting I Love Lucy.
God, we need to. Daughter
of the moon, Nicoma.
Sweet Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, the podcast does not agree with Aaron's twisted, racist thoughts. Good luck.
I feel there's always room for I Love Lucy in our life.
Okay. Fair.
You can try to cancel me, brother, but
anywho, she's saying this shit to Tony Curtis as she's sleeping because, of course, when Tony flashes his eyes at you, you're going to jump right into his bed because that's how he do. He uses his psychic abilities to bewitch you.
With the Stanza trousers.
Absolutely. Skin tight. with a slight flare at the bottom because it was the time.
As was the time.
As was the times. So then she's at the operating table where the specialist is going to come in with his scalpel and just scoop that mass, the malignant coming out of the back of her neck, scoop it right out. But she starts chanting that shit again, and he like starts slicing his own wrist, which was kind of upsetting. So,
Yes.
but he's
It
fine.
did remind me of It's Alive.
Yes.
Except it's very much like It's Alive, except the baby's better looking and
Okay.
makes somehow more sense. I don't know. But it's
Maybe
the
a little
same
bit.
thing. You try to mess with the baby or the mama, it's all turned on you.
Can't do it. So Tony's
No.
like goes to his friend who is a medium or some shit. This is all San Francisco. This is standard operating. We're not supposed to blink that Tony Curtis does tarot cards and he's best friends with a woman who does seances. This is just standard Haight Ashbury shit, evidently.
I mean, you got Jerry Garcia rolling in there. You know, it's all
Absolutely.
just how it is. That's
Absolutely.
how it was, brother.
So they do a seance. They bring in some other medium or somebody to the table, and they stand around the table and hold hands. And that's when they discover that it was an ancient Native American medicine man. They do this shit. It's a Manitou, and they have to go find the expert. So they just happen to have a book on Native American shit, and they're like, "Oh damn, the guy who wrote this lives 45 minutes away. Why don't we just go visit him?" And that's Crazy Burgess Meredith, who, I mean, it is the crappiest Burgess. Like, you think they just pushed him on stage and said, "Just make up some shit, Burgess," because there's a lot of scenes where he's just like looking at the shelves, going, "Oh, what's this over here?" Like he's starting to reach for something. Like, "Oh no, I don't need that for this scene. What's happening?
Dude,
where are we?"
That's your best Burgess Meredith. He's just ad-libbing it. He is bebopping and scatting. It's all improv.
It is. He looks like he's 102 in this movie. And keep in mind, he did all the Rocky movies after this. Remember, he was in Rocky 3, like 6 years after this, and was totally fine. But in this movie, he seems like he's just grappling with dementia.
Dude, this is 78. So I think he was doing the Batman TV show all at the same time. He was the Penguin.
He was the
Penguin. This is young and fresh Burgess Meredith.
This is. So I don't know what happened. Did he just say, "Look, you got me for 10 minutes, throw in a sack lunch, and I'll do what I can do"?
Oh my God, he's the best. He's the best.
He is not the best in this movie. I will tell you that. Sweet
He's a bright
Jesus.
Star. He's a bright, shining star.
What does he say? He offers no help. He's just like, "Yeah, this is just some bullshit. I don't know. Find another medicine man. I don't know what to tell you. Good luck." And he literally says, "Hey, whatever you find in here you want to use, just help yourself. I'm out. Clock it out."
And then we have to go like 5 states away
Yes.
to find someone who knows anything, even though California has native tribes from one end to the other.
Correct. They have to go to, where does he go? South Dakota or Oklahoma?
Dakota. They had to find a man who is Lebanese and not Native American to then come in and decipher all of this.
Which is the most ridiculous shit ever. It's like, really? There isn't a Native American actor you can hire?
There's no such thing as a Native American actor in 1978.
Isn't that ridiculous? It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Only Lebanese people or Italians can play these roles.
Was the band Redbone not available? Get somebody in there.
Redbone.
Thank you. That's a deep pull.
Deep
no,
pull.
Michael Ansara.
Freakishly, Redbone popped up on my TikTok yesterday.
Freakishly, they're very talented. You would know some of their songs if you were looking for it. But anyway, Michael Ansara is Lebanese American, and he was the Native American dude in Day of the Animals too. So it's like, what are we doing? There's not one Native. Russell Means, Graham Greene, Wes Studi. Give me somebody here. God.
How about this? I think he was married to I Dream of Jeannie at this time.
He was Michael, which is. I almost fell out of my chair when I saw that. He was married to Barbara Eden, who, let's be honest, was a stone cold fox in the 60s on I Dream of Jeannie. She was a goddamn knockout.
She was a knockout back in the day.
100%. They were married for quite a while and had children together. So, did they
Yes.
claim their Native American heritage as well? Unclear. And honestly, the moment, no offense to Michael Ansara, the moment they brought in the modern day medicine man, I don't know, shaman, what's a term that's not offensive to all parties involved? I don't know. Moment they invite him along to help out, the story got boring as shit. I thought it was boring as hell. It was more fun when it was just Tony Curtis kind of wandering around going, I don't know what to do with his Brooklyn accent.
Tony Curtis comes back after a week or so of training with the Navajos, and he comes back with like silver and turquoise bracelets, and he's ready to go.
He had more turquoise. He was basically, he took Burt Reynolds' his outfit with all the turquoise you could imagine. Yes, it was upsetting. It was upsetting. But so they bring him in to combat, because he's the one who says, look, a Manitou is this famous, I'm trying to remember, Miska Makwa was the guy's name, the ancient medicine man. And Tony Curtis kept calling him Mixmaster. Can't you take care of this Mixmaster? Horrible. He says that from 400 years ago or whatever, this ancient shaman, when he died, he would cast his spirit into the body of somebody, and then he'd be reborn. And they tell a story of a native girl having a lump on her arm, and the lump turned into, like, grew into the Manitou, and the Manitou is born, and the native girl died because of that. Later in this movie,
like this chick's about to do.
Well, you'd think. I mean, literally, they bring in the shaman from South Dakota or whatever, and he does some shit, and the little creature crawls out of her back anyway. So is she dead? I guess she's fine, even though her back is literally all torn up. She like comes through. I was like, grab her.
I have to say, he must have been very on the surface, because really it looked like when all the skin was flailed off, it kind of looked like when you get one of those bad sunburns and you can just peel sheets of your skin off.
Yes.
It looked like the Manitou was laying deep in there.
No, just under the surface. What they said was that they had used like x-rays to check, and it was clearly like there's a fetus growing in the back of this woman's neck. We've never seen this before. What's going on? But they also said, if you keep zapping the fetus with the x-rays, that's not good. There's a reason we use sonograms on pregnant women and not shock them full of x-rays. That's bad. So are we to think that the ancient shaman who is born out of the woman's back is all jacked up and crazy because of all the x-rays?
Yes.
Okay, fair. That's what I was looking for.
That, and how about the doctor having just like a full bar in his office when he's talking with the dad? How about that? Maybe that has a little something to do with it, lad.
You think?
We're gonna need a couple of drinks, and we're gonna start digging into your woman's back.
Well, that was pretty standard.
And we're gonna get Bjorn from ABBA to join us in this adventure.
Not Benny? Benny and Bjorn?
Actually, it is Benny, not Bjorn. I'm sorry, I confused the two.
That was Stella Stevens' boyfriend, who he called. What did he call? His name was like MacArthur, but he called him like McGillicuddy. Hey, McGillicuddy. He's like, my name is MacArthur.
Again, an I Love Lucy reference. Have you ever met anyone with the last name McGillicuddy?
That's a standard Irish name. What? No,
that was it. That was supposed to be Lucy's maiden name, Lucille McGillicuddy.
Well, what was Lucille Ball's real maiden name? Did she have a maiden name? I guess Ball. I guess that makes it should be, which isn't much better. Let's be honest.
I'm not sure. I'll have to Google that, because it was her grandfather was a commie, right?
I don't know the answer to that. Good Lord.
Yeah, she got pulled up before the board, House Un-American Activities, because he got her to sign a paper.
Oh, shit. There you go. It all comes out. Anyway, back to the Manitou for God's sakes. The dude, Michael Ansara, he does all of his shit and it doesn't seem to work. Like he's barely able to hold the Manitou back, who's now literally like a little person, like a little crazy with a weird, like lazy eye. And he did not come out like a big strapping native man. He was a little crazy, like a little person with a lazy eye. What was that? And you think that was all the
A
X-rays?
little person with a lazy eye, naked as the
Yes.
day he was born, except
100%.
in the front where he was a Ken doll. They threw a strap, a privacy strap, but they had no problem showing his ass.
Yes. Yes. There were extended
And
scenes.
he had like a 12-pack.
Yeah.
Not a 6-pack, but a 12-pack.
I couldn't understand if he was legitimately muscly, like they hired a little person who was buff, or if he was wearing some kind of a bodysuit. But he had a bubble butt. It was the crazy, and they were zooming in on his ass constantly, his little slimy ass, because he was just born. So he's slimy as hell.
Born, so he was covered with sauce, but he did have an apple ass. It was like 2 crunchy little apples.
Apple bottom jeans. Anywho,
there you go.
It was so he did the native, the shaman did his shit, and he was like, "Oh, this isn't working anymore." And that's when Tony Curtis goes, "Hey, this is a modern place. We have to use our modern technology on this guy. You told me that everything has a spirit, including those computers, right?" I'm doing my Tony Curtis, by the way.
Is that what it was?
That's my Tony Curtis. I am Spartacus. He was doing his shit.
Oh my God! It sounds like you're like one of the Soprano members. Okay, but go ahead.
Same difference. So he somehow does some spirit shit, and what the fuck? They throw like a typewriter at the shaman, and it explodes.
It was an IBM Selectric, and that's what angers the gods.
I can't even get into this. There was like weird holograms of lizards that the creature was sending at them. Oh my God. And it bit the doctor's hand. God, this movie's a piece of shit. This is when I was...
Now it's getting real good. Now it's like you need to be on the peyote or something.
Oh, that's clear. Yes.
I was waiting for William Hurt to come strolling out as a monkey man. It was coming. He was going to wrestle an alligator.
If only.
Here through time.
If only. Good Lord. No, like the last, and I swear to God, this was 45 minutes of the movie. They're in the hospital. They clear the wing. They're like, we got to get everybody out of here. What about all the other patients? We're not worried. This is San Francisco. There are 15 stabbings and 20 shootings every goddamn day. Where do they go? No, sorry, you're on your own. And again, I want to reiterate, the little dude climbed out of Karen's back. So Karen, I guess, she's either dead and we don't have to worry anymore, or she's sitting there with a huge gaping wound on her back and no one seems to give a damn. Right? No. Isn't this all about saving her? I guess not. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Now we're saving all of mankind. No one gives a shit about her. I'm still not sure if she's alive or dead at the end of the movie. I can't even remember. I'm just gonna say dead. Unclear, and unclear if anyone gives a shit.
Well, now's the thing about this movie. Other than Tony Curtis, like you said, Stella Stevens drops in for a few minutes and then says, "I'm out." Burgess Meredith is there for 5 minutes and says, "I'm out." Susan Strasberg is just... we didn't even talk about this. At the end, she pops up topless with her boobs flopping around and her back still a huge gaping wound and smiling as she's shooting lasers out of her hands at the little native man.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Queen of Scream in 1978.
God
oh,
damn
yeah.
it.
How about Stella Stevens' fake tan? I think that gave her protection.
That's what I was talking to you about.
No, it's all coming back to me. She's as orange as El Presidente.
I was like, is she supposed to be like a Romani person? Because she had like a kerchief in her hair and like her orange skin.
That's right. I thought it was like, oh, she's just supposed to be somebody on the East Coast. No, no, no. They're trying to ethnic her up.
That's what I
Ay, ay,
think, right?
ay.
100%.
Don't try to cancel me. This whole thing's canceled. So I think we can be just crazy racist if we want, and it still won't compare.
That's what
And
I
I was
think.
like, not Lebanese. He's Syrian. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, my
Apologize.
bad. Yes, there's many cases of Middle Eastern, North African actors who basically play Native Americans in this time period, or Jewish actors. If you
Or
watch F
Jewish
Troop,
actors, or Italian, anybody with any pigmentation, but as long as they're not Mexican.
no, can't do, can't.
Insane. But
Right,
some bizarre pecking order. I don't understand it.
right. Unless you're Anthony Quinn, who luckily his last name is Quinn, then you're like, yes, I'm from South Central and I'm Mexican, but my name's Anthony Quinn, and you can convince yourself I'm really Greek. I'm Greek. What?
It just takes one movie. He's Zorba the Greek. There
He
you go.
is Zorba the Greek. He was Greek in about 15 movies after that. Anyway, sweet Jesus. Anything else
He
for
was taking jobs from Telly Savalas.
poor Telly? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What else? Anything else for this movie, or can we move
How
on with
about
that
the
line?
music? Was all the music like taken from Star Trek, the original
Yes,
series?
100%.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Well, it's because the ending is just a bunch of stars and lasers and shit.
Do, 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 and then
Are you talking about Star Trek? Because you said Star
Trek.
Wars, the original series.
Oh, sorry.
Which there was
Star
no original
Trek,
series.
the original series.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
It's
Yes.
beautiful. And again, back to the doctor's office / swingers pad. All you needed was to push one of those buttons, and like the wall rotates and a bed falls out.
Well, they have the vinyl sofas kind of wrap around with like the glass table, and
that you can hose off later. That's
absolutely. It's just good. It's good planning. Am I right? Good help us all.
And
Anything
then,
else?
Of course, one of the most racist parts out of many racist parts.
Yes.
How about, and they paid him with tobacco at the end.
That is true. That is true. Well, he said give $100,000 to the Native American Education Fund or some shit. Tony Curtis, he lives in like a 1-bedroom studio apartment. He's like, 100 grand, no problem. And have a little tobacco from my medicine bag, Kimosabe. It was upsetting on so many levels. Sweet
there
Jesus.
was no way that Tony Curtis, if he had $100,000, he wouldn't be doing whatever the hell he was doing.
No!
$100,000 in '78 was still better than $100,000 now.
You're telling me. This was it for Tony Curtis, I think. I don't think he did shit after this movie. Let's be honest. Can you think of anything?
He wasn't ready for. He could have been in Xanadu.
That's true, but he can't sing or dance, so that would make it difficult.
That's okay, because by that point, what's his Gene? Oh my God, old Gene couldn't
Kelly.
do much of it either. Gene Kelly.
Do you know what's funny? There was Tony Curtis was a headliner on a short-lived TV series in the early 70s with Roger Moore called The Persuaders, where they were like playboys who went on adventures and solved crimes. Look it up. It was on for 3 years during a fallow period for both of them. This is before Roger Moore was James Bond, and this is after.
After the Saint? After the Saint? Or before?
After the Saint.
Things still weren't picking up for him.
Well, the Saint was big in the UK.
Yeah. But I mean, the Saint, of course, we watched it, on like Channel 5 in the 80s or something. It wasn't like 100%. We were watching it fresh. He was already James Bond by the time I saw the Saint.
Yes. Right. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Shall we go behind the scenes?
Let's go.
Let's see. Shortly before the film's release, director William Girdler was killed in a helicopter crash in the Philippines, scouting locations for a future film. Boom. Sorry to hear
does that
about it.
mean it's cursed?
Well, this was the time when people would go to the Philippines because it was so cheap. You know what I mean? Any
Right.
kind of adventure film that was filmed in the Philippines, generally speaking, it means it was kind of a crappy production. It was some low
Well,
budge thing.
I watched
So
90 Day Fiance, and a lot of people go to the Philippines for a lot of different things.
that is true as well, I'm sad to say. When this film premiered in South Africa in 1978, the invitations were printed on vomit bags. Which frankly makes a lot of sense, if we're being honest.
Because it's vomitacious.
Yep. At least the acting is. Good Lord.
Yeah. You're wrong.
Michael Ansara reportedly said that he almost turned down this role after learning a full-blooded Native American had been turned down for it. So somebody had auditioned and been turned down. But sadly, at this time in his life, he needed the work. So he just took it. Brr. The film's cast includes 3 Oscar nominees: Tony Curtis, Ann Sothern, and Burgess Meredith.
Thing.
Yeah,
I mean, Ann Sothern was a big star back in the old days. Nobody
the silent era.
Listening, our listening audience is not jumping up and going, "Is that Ann Sothern?"
Frankly, no, neither am I. So how do I like them apples?
How dare you?
Originally rated R by the MPAA, the film was re-rated PG on appeal. Yeah, makes sense. Let's see. Stella Stephen wears a brunette wig in this film.
I'm busy looking up Ann Sothern movies.
Well,
apparently I don't know.
No need to do that. No one knows. Let's look at.
Apparently, I only know her name. I don't think I've actually seen any movie that she has been in.
Why would you?
So,
okay.
Like old movies.
No, you don't. Tony Curtis.
She's in Crazy Mama.
Oh, there you go. Tony Curtis played Harry Erskine. You know him from Some Like It Hot in 1959.
Never saw
it. Really? Even I've seen that one.
Didn't look like something I'd like. Tony Curtis, man.
Sweet Smell of Success in 1957.
No, didn't see that.
24 episodes of The Persuaders.
Ooh.
In 71 to 72. And he was Antoninus in Spartacus in 1960. There you go.
Did I see Spartacus?
I saw Spartacus with Kirk Douglas.
Okay.
Susan Strasberg played Karen, the woman with the hunchback. You know her from Picnic in 1955, Capo in 1960, Scream of Fear in 1961, and Schweitzer.
Scream of Joy.
Schweitzer in 1990. She was famously Lee Strasberg's daughter, one of the main people of the method acting movement. So there you go.
Is she using the method acting here at the Manitou?
To be a topless hunchback? Yes.
Absolutely. She's touching into real life things to help with her acting. Like that time that she had the Manitou.
Michael Ansara played John Singing Rock. You know him from The Message in 1976. No. The Manitou in 1978. He was in 3 episodes of I Dream of Jeannie, playing 3 different characters. That's how they met, I guess. And he was in the 1987 Charles Bronson flick Assassination.
No.
Which is not a good movie. No. Let's see. Stella Stevens played Amelia Crusoe. You know her from such things as The Poseidon Adventure in 1972.
That's right.
The Silencers in 1966. That's one of those Dean Martin spy flicks. Matt Helm.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
That doesn't sound
sh-
good.
She was in The Nutty Professor in 1963 and 1968's Where Angels Go, Trouble Follows. You know,
Oh,
don't
I
you?
saw those. Mom made us watch all those. Those are like all the nun and the students from the convent go on a field trip, and then there's hijinks.
Correct. Stella Stevens was kind of a blonde bombshell back in the day.
Yeah. Back in
Uh,
the day.
do you want to do you want to know about Ann Southern, or should we move on from that?
No, we're going back to Mr. Michael and Sarah because
Please.
Star Trek, the original series, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager. He was
Babylon
in
5.
Kane in Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Mr. Freeze in the DC animated universe.
Yep.
He had
Hardest
some
working man in show
big.
business.
So I think he was Commander Chang in Star Trek, the original series.
Which is always upsetting when they're just like, "Hey, you're a fellow of color. How about you play another ethnicity entirely different from yourself? How about Commander Chang, Michael Ansara?"
Because my friend, we don't have people from these mythical other planets.
Clearly not.
I'm sorry. I know what a Romulan look like, and you, sir, are no Romulan.
You're no Romulan.
Why wasn't a Romulan hired for this?
That's my question. Burgess Meredith played Dr. Snow. You know him from Clash of the Titans in 1981. He was in Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3. Good stuff. I always enjoyed him
in the we recently did.
Oh, Burnt Offerings. Is that the one you're talking about?
Burnt Offerings, absolutely. Brother.
let's look at the ratings, shall we?
All right.
The Manitou, currently on Rotten Tomatoes, 45%. Do you know what the audience gave it?
78.
36%. There's only one top critic. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
Come on, Roger. Come on, Roger. Let's roll the dice. Roger.
What do you think he gave it?
Roger's not going to like this so much. He's going to say it's a little confusing. I think Roger gives it a 3, even after all his jibba jabba.
His review is nonsensical. He wrote, El Sleazo, Profundo, Trasho, Zilch. 1 out of 4.
Ooh, he really didn't like it.
He was not a fan. Aaron, what is your rating for Manitou?
I'm definitely giving this 3 naked medicine men out of 4. Hell yeah, out of 5. I'm sorry, I use a 5-point scale. Oh, it's right there in the middle because there's so many just pearls that have just become part of the lexicon of every day. You cannot get a big boil without thinking of the Manitou. And in fact,
carbuncle.
After a carbuncle, I thought a carbuncle is a wart, but I could be wrong. But now I'm going to go and do hashtag the Manitou on all those zip popping videos on TikTok. Unless is that a Manitou? Hashtag the podcast I wouldn't die. Another Manica. Hey, how come there's never any videos of the sis with the teeth? That's what I want to see.
What are you talking about?
You know those cis that where there could be a partial. It's like almost like I forgot what kind of a cis.
Oh, you mean
grow
it's
hair?
Like
there could be teeth.
Yes.
It could have an eye, a small finger inside.
A partially conjoined twin is what you're talking about.
I don't think that's what it is.
I think exactly what it is.
It just has some of the building blocks. I'm gonna Google cyst with teeth and see what that says.
Tell me more about the weird toothed cysts, please.
dermoid cysts. They can have
Interesting.
hair, skin, teeth, and other tissue, nerves. They form
Interesting.
from embryonic cells. It's something that you're born with, and they make you wait at least 6 months before they remove them.
In case it's a child crawling out or a Manitou.
It says it has the appearance of an undeveloped fetus located inside the body of an otherwise healthy. But
See?
it says they are not undeveloped babies.
Are they Manitous?
Yes, that's if you have a teratoma, that is just the Navajo language way of saying you have a Manitou.
Good to know. Let me write that down. Sweet Jesus.
Teratoma.
This movie sucks.
It says they
Aaron.
look like a malformed fetus, but are in fact not.
They look like they're in fact a normal fetus. Is what you're saying.
In fact, they are an ancient medicine man. So there you go.
Now it all makes sense. No, this movie blows. This movie sucks. It's not as much fun as you think it would be, if I'm being truthful.
I thought it was much more fun than I remember. What are you saying?
Wrong.
You're making my voice get very high.
Like I said, it's fun up until the moment that it's the showdown in the hospital. Then it's a lot of bullshit. And frankly, boring bullshit, if I'm being truthful.
Like when the hallway freezes and everybody's dead. I'm like,
it was the stupidest shit. The hallway, it's like some kind of Disneyland, like Matterhorn bullshit. When the freeze,
it was the Matterhorn. I was waiting for the Bumble.
It was
Bumbles
ridiculous.
Bounce.
And frankly, and that's the thing, man. When the Manitou was revealed as like a dude that's like 1.5 feet, you know what I mean? It's like, no offense to our little listeners, not the most intimidating, no matter how crazy his other eye is. I'm sorry.
God bless him. He had to crawl out of Lee Strasberg's back, covered in
Susan Strasberg. Anyway, I give it about.
Just sit there, buck naked, with his little hands, just like this.
Correct.
And that's all he did for the entire movie.
For his big ass hanging out.
Paid.
God damn
I wonder
it!
how much you got paid.
Not enough. Whatever it was.
Not
I give it about a 1.5 out of 5. I'm being honest. It's boring, Aaron. It's boring. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to offend you. Any last thoughts on the Manitou, Aaron, before we move on with our lives?
No, I'm trying to find a picture of the Manitou. How come the Manitou is not? They don't show. Oh, Felix Silla has to be him.
He's was Italian. The Manitou. Of course he is. Of course he is.
Character, because you can't have a native person playing a native person. We already discussed it. They need to be Italian, Jewish, or from the Middle East. And he was also a circus performer, and he died in Las Vegas.
Doing what he loved, I hope.
Let's hope so.
Anyway, so thank you very much. Go to our page across social media. We're on Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram. You may be watching us on YouTube at this very moment, hopefully. Maybe not. You can also email us at the podcast that wouldn't die at Gmail. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review. Won't you?
Won't you please?
Aaron, what is your social media situation?
Well, first of all, our fans are not buying enough of my art, and that is very discouraging. But anyway, if you were so inclined, I have art over at Artsy and First Dibs, Aaron Doherty, Instant Dreams Gallery. Social media-wise, I'm running the podcast that wouldn't die. And personally, I am the Cult of Aaron. Join the cult. Come on. Horror and the cult, it's all right there.
It's all right there.
Hands across America.
100%. As you know, we like to share our friends' thoughts and feelings across the interwebs. So let's take a look, shall we?
Yes.
Our friend Mark Rodriguez, responding to our Sinister episode, says, yeah, it's scary and creepy. It's a still picture and the head moved.
He's referring to the senior showing on TikTok where it's
Correct.
frozen. When he's not paying attention, it starts moving
The head,
around. Yeah.
right. Mr. Boogie turns and looks at the looks down the barrel of the camera. Yes, that's what he does. Thank you, Bagul, for that one. And thank you.
And quite frankly, Mr. Boogie, it sounds like Dancing Stew from The Simpsons.
100%.
Hey, he's Mr. Boogie.
Mr. Boogie was the bass player for Casey and the Sunshine Band. Let's be honest.
What?
No, he wasn't.
Is that real information? Shut your mouth, boy.
But see, the comedy comes because I deliver it with such sincerity. Anyway,
really?
That's right.
Anything's possible.
Next week, we're going to be discussing the Mark Valentine classic, My Demon Lover. And you can watch My Demon Lover, sadly, nowhere for free. So you're going to pay $3.99 on Apple Plus, Amazon Prime Video, or on YouTube. So you're welcome in advance. Also, we are going to be appearing on our buddy Antonio's amazing podcast, the Cult-Worthy Cinema podcast, to discuss the exact same film. So you're double dipping, if you will. So send in your favorite scenes, favorite comments, favorite quotes, and maybe we'll talk about it on the show. So
I have more Manitou information.
Lay it
the
on
gentleman who played the medicine man
Michael
also
Ansara
played Cousin It in the Addams Family.
You mean the little Manitou, correct?
Little
Are you talking about Michael Ansara?
No, the guy who played the Manitou.
Okay, so he's a well-traveled actor, is what you're saying.
He was in Star Trek TV series as the Man from U.N.C.L.E. He was in the Monkees, but he also played the Buck Rogers. What did he play? He played Tweaky.
Twiggy? You remember Tweaky? Beady, 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 beady.
Yes.
Of course, Tweaky.
But Mel Blanc voiced him.
Correct. Mel Blanc was the... I used to I'm not going to lie, I used to enjoy the Buck Rogers show with little Tweaky going beady, 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 beady. Little crazy robot. Shit. Go ahead.
Far beyond this place I've known, far beyond my time. What have I, who have I, where have I been? Where am I going and what will I find? How about that? Useless knowledge.
That is goddamn useless. So the difference
Gerard.
I love Gil Gerard. You have Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon. They're basically the same. Flash Gordon, they're modern people. Flash Gordon goes to a distant universe. Okay. Buck Rogers goes to the future. That's the difference.
I mean, it's Star-Lord. He's Star-Lord.
He is goddamn Star-Lord. 100%. So, thank you very much, and be well.
I say good day.